Thank you, Madam Speaker. I ask unanimous consent that members have 5 legislative days in which to revise and extend their remarks and insert extraneous material into the record on Senate Amendment to H.R. 3935.
Without objection.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I yield myself such time as I may consume.
It's recognized.
Madam Speaker, I rise today in strong support of passing and concurring with the Senate Amendment to H.R. 3935, the FAA Reauthorization Act of 2024. This bill is a bipartisan, bicameral, and comprehensive agreement to reauthorize the Federal Aviation Administration, our nation's aviation safety and infrastructure programs through fiscal year 2028. I want to thank Transportation Infrastructure Committee Ranking Member Rick Larson, Senate Committee Science and Transportation Chair Maria Cantwell, and Ranking Member Ted Cruz for their partnership in crafting a strong final agreement. And I would also like to thank the House Aviation Subcommittee Chairman Garrett Graves, Ranking Member Steve Cohen, Senate Aviation Subcommittee Chair Tammy Duckworth, and Ranking Member Jerry Moran for their support in getting this bill across the finish line. For over a century, the United States has led the world in aviation safety and innovation. Unfortunately, our gold standard status is being threatened by increased global competition, rapid developments in technology, a shortage of aviation professionals, and influences at the FAA due to process failures and inadequate practices. H.R. 3935 is critical to ensuring America remains the global leader in aviation, and it's vital to our economy, to millions of American jobs, and to the millions of passengers that depend on our national aviation system, or airspace system, every single day. H.R. 3935 also provides the long-term certainty necessary to ensure the safety and prosperity of American aviation industry for decades to come. This bill makes reasonable organizational reforms at the agency. It provides much-needed agility while simultaneously providing safety each step of the way. The FAA is simply too slow in everything it does, from rulemakings to aircraft registrations and from certification, just simple paperwork. This bill ensures robust investments in infrastructure for airports of all sizes, with special emphasis placed on the thousands of smaller and general aviation airports that make up the bulk of our nation's airport system. Further, it's a personal point of pride with me that this bill includes the very first ever general aviation title in the FAA Reauthorization Bill. I've been saying this for years, but GA is the foundation of our aviation, our civil aviation system, and it's where many of our pilots, our mechanics, and other hardworking aviation professionals began their careers. It's also responsible for helping meet the critical community needs in thousands of cities and towns all across America. This bill recognizes the importance of GA and protects the freedom to fly for every American. As previously mentioned, the shortages across the aerospace workforce are a growing risk to the future of American aviation. And H.R. 3935 addresses workforce challenges head-on by removing barriers for individuals and veterans interested in pursuing careers in aviation, such as through improving aviation workforce development programs. Bottom line, our bill encourages the growth of our aviation workforce through targeted and meaningful reforms. What's more, H.R. 3935 maintains American leadership when it comes to the development and integration of new and emerging technologies in the airspace, such as drones and advanced air mobility, or AAM. Specifically, this bill requires the FAA to move beyond endless testing and pilot programs that go nowhere and to move towards integrating innovations such as drones and AAM into the national airspace system. As air travel recovers from the COVID pandemic, renewed growth in air travel has come with some difficulties for the traveling public, and our bipartisan bill includes an entire title dedicated to improving issues each of our offices hear about from constituents almost daily: the flying experience for the traveling public, including individuals with disabilities. And finally, and most importantly, this bill recognizes that while our aviation system is safe, we have to continue raising the bar for safety. The bill is centered around a strong aviation safety title and makes many important reforms that address the close calls and near misses that have unnerved many of us over the past several years. And I have every confidence that the provisions we enact here today will make aviation safer, thus ensuring that America continues to be that world's gold standard in aviation safety. One of the most important safety features of this bill is the title for a 5-year reauthorization of the National Transportation Safety Board, or the NTSB. It's the independent federal agency that investigates all civil aviation and other transportation accidents. I believe the FAA Reauthorization Act of 2024 is one of the farthest reaching, most consequential pieces of legislation that the House will consider in the 118th Congress. I do want to take just a moment to point out just a couple of additional provisions in the bill that I think warrant bringing up. The first is the provision that is going to help protect general aviation airports from closure. And airports are a valuable community resource, and our vast national aviation airports are part of what has brought about American leadership in aviation. And many of these airports are also grant obligated, meaning that they made assurances to the federal government that they will operate and develop the airport to its fullest potential. In too many places, local neglect or hostility threatens the viability of many of these small airports and the community's commitment to these obligations. Aeronautical development at airports is vital to our national interests, so our bill includes provisions that will prohibit the Federal Aviation Administration from waiving grant obligations if the FAA finds the waiver would impair the aeronautical purpose of an airport or result in its closure. Although this bill contains a legislative waiver of grant obligations for Banning Airport in California, this should not be viewed as a it's anything other than a very unique exception to the hard and fast rule that Congress is enforcing in this bill. So moving forward, it will take legislative action to be able to, or to pursue closing an airport and getting a waiver on those grant assurances. One other provision I do want to point out is airline refunds. I remain concerned that the new Department of Transportation rule is going to result in significant unintended consequences for passengers, including increased prices or the processing of unintentional refunds when all a passenger wants is just simply to be rebooked on the next flight home. However, now that the Senate has amended the refund provision to more closely align with the DOT rule, it's important that DOT adheres to its published 6-month implementation period for the rule. DOT should not view this legislation as short-circuiting the implementation period, which is necessary for airlines and ticket agents to adopt new systems to ensure regulatory compliance. I look forward to working with both DOT and the FAA as they work to implement these provisions and the many other important sections in this bill. So to finish, this bill has the support of more than 1,000 aviation organizations and companies comprehensively addressing thousands of members and stakeholder issues and requests that we received. Simply put, this bill is vital to America's airport infrastructure, in our economy, and to the future of American leadership in aviation. And it's an honor to stand here and urge all of the members in the House to support this transformational bill. Madam Speaker, with that, I would reserve the balance of my time